we are a grandmaster, it's only up from here. Bigger quests with bigger rewards and bigger threats to clear. 24 full years of questing to make our deaths, we're doing fine. RuneScape 3 Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, questing through 2009. Welcome back to June 2nd, 2009. We've got a whole pile of stuff to deal with. We've already dealt with almost the entire first part of this. With changes to tool leprechauns, we can note the clean herbs now too. So I've just been cleaning all the herbs. Doing the only thing we can do in a bank, which is put in a number of things to fill the inventory. Because that's the only way noted things would work. Unfortunately, I can't just use it and get it unnoted. It just puts it in the bank. That'd be more convenient. But yeah, we're here in the Tree Gnome Stronghold. Cleaning the herbs here. Going down the staircase. And noting them with the tool leprechaun here. Very convenient. Very cool. And now, the last set of herbs here. Since it's a noted stack smaller than the total, it doesn't fill it. Also, there's the Expert Skill Cape shard bag that doesn't exist and is going to be a problem later. Clean the last of the herbs here. Got a good chunk of XP from this. Tens of thousands. Because there was 4,500 herbs in around 10 XP each. So, something at least. No noted herb cleaning or anything like that. That would have cost money even if it was a thing. I mean, we do have money, so could have done it, but I'll just make actually making the potions later slightly more convenient, since we don't need to also clean the herbs. One step taken care of. But the next step we're going to go take care of is the charms. Because inventory space is very important for Herblore too. Start with the crimsons, because those are just easy to do. Granite lobsters. We're gonna need a fire staff, pickaxe, chisel, camulet, bucket for getting the dung. Not too many spaces left after all that, but we'll manage. It just takes a bit of dropping everything over and over. In order to get 10 spaces, I need to drop the pickaxe and also the bucket of dung when it's here. And then we can chisel the granite. Well, it's just getting only the 5 kilograms to break down into 10 pieces to make best use of the inventory. Takes a little bit longer to mine it, but gets the job done. There is level 78 summoning. That's the giant ent pouch. Need a willow branch to make that. Green charms. Does some cool stuff. More various farming stuff. Farm boosts, something like that. Getting willow branches together. Definitely easier said than done. I think we do technically have a willow tree up and going, so we could do that. I mean, we would be replacing that at some point. And getting green charms, not really that big of a problem. Not like we do too much farming anyway. Because that's what it does for us. Farming stuff. So, probably not. Probably not. For the blue charms, we're still making mithril minotaurs. And then we get the mithril from the Gentisone mine. In order to get over here more quickly, we're going to enchant the lyre with the Fusagrimmon. I review this enchantment for your worthy offering. 40 charges is not the amount it would normally have gotten. We can so easily come and go getting more sharks that's not even a problem. Teleport to Roleka. Also, Roleka Market's an option. Also, possibly not an option. I should consult the... This is also really the Roleka Market. It teleports. It has charges. Close enough. Let's go get some mithril. 79 summoning. Well, that is a trio of titans. Fire, moss, and ice. Fire needs blue charm and fire talisman. Moss is blue charm and earth talisman. And ice is blue charm and air talisman and water talisman. These guys all have the same special move scroll, which boosts your defense and heals you a little bit. They all do melee damage. Fire Titan also can do some magic damage. They're basically fighting guys. I don't know if they'd really be better than the Talon Beast, because the Talon Beast hits 3 times. Could test it out on other things. It's an option. Getting massive amounts of talismans to actually train with these for the blue charms, not as easy. And also later, Wise Skinweaver in Daemonheim. Here's the last of the charms. Mithril Minotaurs. Almost 80 summoning. Not quite, though. Well, that is another inventory space. Nice and empty. Gonna help a lot for the next thing we're doing, which is all the Herblore. Also going to manage the rest of the inventory here. Alk all of the Mithril Minotaur pouches. There's a nice chunk of magic XP alking all the pouches. It's definitely something. Definitely something. Also get some of the money back. 2.7 mil from alking. Bring the cash stack back up to 12,655,000. Which is less than we started with because of the summoning training. And still plenty. Also, I suppose we need to alk the rune pickaxe. Get a whopping 1,000 back on that. Mining and smithing rework price changes, I swear. And a related note to that, here's all the bonus mithril bars which were sent to the metal bank due to the 10% chance of bonus bars when smelting. Which wildly does also work with superheat when we're not even near the metal bank. Mysterious. Anyways, we're going to drop those over too. Also, don't need a lyre. Where's the drop option? Play, quick charge, quick teleport, use, configure, examine. Enchanted lyre. Quick destination. Okay. And we don't need the Staff of Fire either. Okay. Let's get to Herblore. This is going to be a very tedious process all around. We've got enough space here by dropping the air and earth runes to do 9 potions at a time. Also do need the knife for this instance, so that'll work. We can always go to a magic shop, buy more runes when we need to. Anyways, I'm going to start with some Harlanders here down in the Lumbridge basement, making energy potions. We're going to need to unnote things with the bank. We've got 9 empty slots, so we can do 9 at a time. Would be nice if we could just do this without having to go in and out, but it works. Making Harlander potions, unfinished. It is nice that we cleaned all the herbs, so that is helping out. And then we go into the food chest here and get some chocolate bars, which should be infinite, but there's 300, so that's fine. Changes to shops coming soon-ish. Anyways, we get the chocolate, knife it up, cut it up into dust, and make some energy potions. The lowest amount of XP per potion, but also the highest quantity, since we have the most Harlanders. Very easy, very cool. And then we need to empty the potions, because we don't have an infinite supply of vials. Go and fill them up over here at the sink, and basically just keep doing that process. Get the Harlanders out, make the unfinished, get the chocolate from the shop, cut the chocolate, make the energy potions, empty the energy potions. We're going to be emptying all the potions here, which is definitely something. But we're really here for the Herblore XP, so it's all working out. The other herb we can use, by just buying those secondaries from shops, are the irrits. You got irrit potion unfinished. Get some Eyes of Newt. Making super attack potions. These are very nice. Very, very nice potions. These ones we can just buy stuff from shops. Very cool. So yeah, we make the super attacks. We empty all the potions. We got water here in the next house over. And then we have to go and bank. Probably Falador. Probably closer. Either that or Drainer. So yeah, fill the sink. Now we have no herbs unnoted here. So we're just going to ferry 9 of the Eyes of Newt back. We could technically get 10 per inventory. We drop the knife and the law runes here. That's okay. We'd have to go get another vial too, so not worth worrying about right now. The shops are out of Eyes of Newt and Champa bars. It's now time for the next section, which is going to be very weird. First, we need all the astral runes in the entire game, which is 100. Possibly should be infinite number of astral runes. That would really help. That would really help. That is what we have. Mostly basin, our area here on Lunar Isle. We need to go and get on lunar spells though. But first, we will unnote some herbs here. We're going to be taking the Aventos. And also switching numbers to 8 because of all the runes and stuff in the inventory. Put those here. Could technically use Humidify, but the astral runes are the problem here. I think we have a strategy that should be able to make this work for us. Need to get rid of the Seal of Passage now, since we've purchased the astral runes. Take off an item to keep 8 inventory slots here. Can't get to 9 with the things we need. Technically, we could have 1 extra inventory space if we hadn't purchased all the nature runes before, or hadn't purchased more nature runes than we needed, specifically. I mean, pure essence, fine. Pray at the altar. That is lunar magic. Now, not that. See if this works here. Because if it does, we'll be able to eke out a little bit more from these astral runes. Because we're using these to teleport. What we need to do is get kicked off of the island. I think that's only Elite Diary, so we should be okay. Can I help you? Nope. There's a banker. This place. Just talk to people. Flowers. Some things. Alright. We're not getting kicked off of the island. That really changed at some point. Okay. This would have worked until 2012. When we can now talk to everyone here without the Seal of Passage. So, not quite correct. Very unfortunate. Because I really want to get kicked off of Lunar Isle here. I should still technically have the Seal of Passage here. Now we need to purchase some water runes. It's going to limit what we can do here, unfortunately. So, some of those. Now, we've got our Avento potions unfinished. And we can go to places. Specifically, we need to go to Waterbirth Island. Teleport to Waterbirth. And here on Waterbirth, we're getting immediately attacked by a rock crab. Thanks. I guess we're getting some range XP while we sit here. we're gonna get some more. We can't really do this while we holding these. Make some fishing potions. Nice chunk of XP for that. That's fun. Then, need to get more of the snake grass. Not these oysters. If we can avoid spawning, just attacking that guy on spawn, that'd be fantastic. And then we empty the potions. We'll wait for more snape grass to spawn. Take it. And then one more. We got 6 here in total. That works. Then we bring 8 more snape grass back with us. And we Moon Clan teleport. Back up to the Moon Clan. And then we juggle the other snape grass. Fill the vials of water. The astral runes are a problem here. Technically, we could go and runecraft some astral runes. We would need to bring the essence all the way here. And that's not super convenient, to say the least. One thing we can do is use the banker with bird's eye jack here. So that's still fine. Aventos, potions. No shops involved, except for the rune shop. We just need to be coming back and getting the 100 astral runes. We can do a few trips of rune crafting, I guess. We need to get the pouches to make it worth the trouble. We need to go get a bunch of essence, make a bunch of astral runes, or just make this more of a every so often kind of deal here. Get some more Aventos, empty these, fill it with water, etc., etc. So since we use 4 astral runes per round here, and we get 16 snake grass per go, we can do like 400 potions per 100 something. That's not terrible. It gets the job done at least. We do have the Aventos and later the Ranars here. If we can get through stacks, we can decrease the amount of inventory space, which is beneficial. And this is limited by the astral runes. The other ones aren't going to be limited, so that's an option. Let's just get through these here. 77 Herblore. Well, that is any of this? Probably not. Grand Magic Potion, Perfect Juju Farming Potion, Enhanced Luck Potion, Invention Potion, Arbuck, and Stamina Potions. None of these things exist. That's a lot of stuff at 77. Wild. Yeah. All this running all over the place, emptying every single individual vial. 1 level has been achieved so far. Also, fun fact, that was 2,000 total level, if you include the skills that don't exist yet. There's 5 of them, so, yeah, close enough. 2,000. Wild stuff. Here's the last fishing potion from the last Avento. Drained away. Still more to be done here with the lunar teleport magic stuff. We are now gonna get into the Ranars. Make a whole bunch of prayer potions. And then pour them all out on the floor. It is sad times out here. In the future, I kind of do need to look into ideas with being able to get the potions noted, if that's a possibility. But for now, we're just making them, dropping them. We're not going to need them or be able to hold on to them long enough for it to matter anyways, so at least in this instance, you can just go away. Goodbye. Last super attack potion, made from the last Irrit. So now we've used up 2 herbs. That means we now have 2 extra spaces, which is just enough for 1 extra potion per inventory business. Good. 78 Herblore. Well, that is Zamorak Brew. That does exist. Strong stat restore potions in Daemonheim, grand attack potions, and archaeology potions don't exist, though. I don't think we would ever make a Zamorak Brew. That is Torstols and Jingerberries. Also, it does weird things. Not very helpful. Next up, while we wait for chocolate and astral runes to respawn in the shops, we've got the last form of Herblore training here. We've had buying things from shops. We've had buying things from shops and then needing to process them. We've had picking things up off the floor. And now we have picking things up off the floor and then needing to process them. Starting in Falador and running on over to the Tamerley dungeon. Making use of that agility shortcut there, which makes the Falador wall not safe at all. That's something we're not going to worry about. And another agility shortcut here, through into the Blue Dragons, which are also not aggressive anymore, but we could just wield an anti-dragon shield, that'd be fine. See where we could stand to pick up a good number of blue dragon scales here. We're doing 9 at a time, so if we do like 5 and 4, that'd be about right. Grinding blue dragon scale dust, making anti-fire potions. How appropriate for right here next to the dragons. Very good. These are also our best potions. 158 XP per. That's not too bad, is it? Do some more of these. Crush them down. Make more potions. And then empty these potions while picking up more dragon scales to bring back to the bank. And then continue. Should be alright. Well, there's the last anti-fire from the last Lantidime. Didn't have a huge number of those, so got through pretty quick. And now we're on to the Quarms, which are also using the Dragon Scale Dust, making weapon poisons. These don't even work the same way with the Evolution of Combat, so I'm just gonna get rid of all those. The last Quarm has made the last weapon poison. And now we have even more empty slots. This is great. 79 Herblore. There we go. That is anti-poison plus. That would exist. That is coconut milk, so we need to farm coconuts from palm trees. Irrit and magic tree roots, which we need to get from farming magic trees, and only a couple roots per tree, and we don't have the farming level for that even. So we're not going to be making any anti-poison pluses. We're also not going to be making any grand defense potions, super cooking potions, or super necromancy potions, because those don't exist yet. Here's the last energy potion from the last Horrorlander. Gone. And here's the last potion of the last herb. One more Ranar to make one final prayer potion. 4,500 potions just poured out on the floor. And then the last 11 of them just dropped here. But yeah, that is like 79 and a quarter. That'll be good enough. More Herblore experience coming from penguins. But that's going to be later. And weekly, essentially. Anyways, on to updates. Before we go do other things and then worry about this 10,000 nature runes. Again, that's later. For now, updates. On June 5th, 2009, Fairy Tale Part 3 Design Review Blog. about moving from the bare bones idea to the full brief, keeping style and tone for the quest series, the fact that it's going to be a finale, so it needs to feel like a finale, with a boss fight and appropriate rewards and stuff. Fairy Tail Part 3, coming eventually here. On June 9th, 2009, patch notes. Parrot feet are now anatomically correct. The Lunar Contact spell will now contact you to chuck if Larry has been captured. The Ratcatcher's guards have had their vision slightly reduced to make Ratcatchers less annoying. Commander Ziliana's area in the God Wars dungeon is now smaller. The waterfall has sound effects, and a chicken has been moved slightly. Oh boy. Over in PvP worlds, drop potential updates have changed. So it's going to be more accurate when you're running in and out of the hot and cold PvP zones. Also, the Bounty Hunter now has a potential bar, so you can see how you're doing and compare your potential with your opponent's potential and drops and things. There's spectating at the games room. Guthin's healing set effect only works if you actually do damage, and you can no longer get back-to-back Slayer tasks. In other news, there are now seaweed nets. You make them, then you can put seaweed in them, and then sometimes they break, so you need to get more seaweed nets. For if you're going and picking up a bunch of seaweed, I guess. There's also a new herb called Orgali. Get the seed from Vine Sweeper and various drops in the compost mound. Turn it into crafting potions with 42 Herblore and fletching potions with 58 Herblore. Math skills we're typically trying to boost by like 3 or whatever these potions do. And of course there's always spicy stews if we actually need to get some boosts. That's okay. You can now skip stronghold questions if you have already done it or have higher levels or something. And magic spells have icons graphically updated. But the main, biggest change, most important thing for this day, is the run energy update. It now drains slower. It now restores faster. You can rest to even get it back even faster. Just sitting on the ground. Or if you want to be very fancy about it, you can rest at a musician to get it back even faster. Just enjoy the music, all sorts of places all around the game. They're appropriate for where they're at, different instruments, different people. We got ghosts, we got goblins, all kinds of stuff. Kind of another run energy update past this though, so it doesn't really matter as much. We also have agility being more useful, as it increases the distance you can run per energy point. And previously, the only thing that it did was make you recharge faster. There's a bit of a double-edged sword here. Agility no longer does anything in free-to-play worlds. It was a bit of a boost to be able to run much further than anyone that hadn't been members before. And so for the whole making free-to-play more fair and not a demo, that's been removed. On June 11th, 2009, Game Engine Improvements blog. Changing the game engine can cause bugs and such. Since it's been 6 years they've been working on the current engine, bolting on new updates on top of everything. So they're kind of going back and reinforcing the foundations, doing some code refactoring. Generally, working on things, fixing it up, making it better. Sometimes it doesn't work quite right though. They were overhauling the route finding code, tweaking some unintended changes that they managed to make when it's simplifying things. And then the changes change other things, and it's just a whole problem. One of the most obvious mistakes with the tweaking was you could no longer run around and eat food at the same time. So they turned that back on, allowing you to do 2 things at the same time, but then it lets you do other things at the same time as each other, which weren't intended, so that's been turned off again. Just making it work, in theory. Also got a macro detection systems update. It's getting more effective over the last year. New improvement. I'm going to be banning thousands of more bots. They can detect all available macro programs. Zero tolerance, permanent ban, first time. High level accounts not safe. Less botting, because there's not much free trade right now. It's a system. On June 12th, 2009, the friends list is unavailable for about a quarter of players due to a hardware failure. Going to be restoring backups. That's alright. On June 16th, 2009, the European worlds are temporarily unavailable for a hardware fault and a service provider. Lots of various technical issues with third-party situations. Patch notes, resting animation updated to not clip into things so much. Rebalanced the blast furnace pedals to do with the new energy changes. And one other thing that we didn't mention with the run energy changes was the buffs to certain things like energy potions. There's pretty much things that restore run energy. Since you don't use as much, they now restore more, which is nice. But now, with this, the potion sharing of energy potions also has been updated to the new values. Also, in Fight Arena Quest, the NPCs won't despawn so quickly if you're really weak and taking a really long time to beat them. So, that's helpful. In other news, the Abyssal Whip special attack drains 25% run energy, up from 10%. Again, just another small interaction with the changes to run energy. An activity bar has been added to Fishing Trawler, so you need to keep that up or you don't get any rewards. Seaweed nets break less often. Mention the seaweed nets? Yeah, seaweed nets, they break less often. So that's nice for all your seaweed collecting. We got Fist of Guthix. You now restore run energy in the middle at the correct rate. Whatever that is. And the summoning scrolls will now show you level requirements on the info screen when trying to purchase them and stuff. In other areas, we got more changes to PvP worlds, bounty hunter worlds, gravestones. Basically, removed all boss, minigame, and rare drops from the tables of drops you can get randomly. Because it kind of devalues doing actual content instead of just randomly spawning things in. But they did add new piles of different statuettes of varying values from like 5,000 or something up to 5 million or something. Sell those to people in Edgeville or Lumbridge. They've been moved around a little bit. So we head over to Edgeville. One of them should probably still be here. Not that Bounty Hunter or PvP Worlds exists, and not that we would get any of these items. Eventually they'd change to be other places, but it's definitely something. Now we just got Banaki. Banaki, he's not right. Should be Mandrith in Edgeville and Nastroth in Lumbridge. All teleport spells in Bounty Worlds now go to Edgeville. Just make it easier to get to where you're supposed to be. And improvements to the earning potential display. So you can see if you're actually going to be getting loot, which is nice. Also, here in Edgeville, more importantly, here's a note from Mandrith. He's moved to somewhere. There's now the lever here in Edgeville to get from Edgeville out into the deep wilderness. Pulling the lever in the deep wilderness still only goes to Ardoin, but now this exists. Always feels like this was here earlier, since it is in old school, but that was added later, even for them, so. We now have a way to essentially get from Edgeville to Ardoin. Just need to travel through the wilderness, so. potentially a slightly dangerous route. More interesting, if we head out into the not quite so deep wilderness, we've got some new stuff that we could do. Of course, we probably won't, because it's not a very convenient location. But now, the Bounty Hunter craters have just been completely reworked here. Instead of having Bounty Hunter there, because it's all just in Bounty Hunter worlds now, the crater is now open and has hellhounds, lesser demons, greater demons, and skeletons in it. So in case you want to go fight some monsters in the wilderness, be my guest, I suppose. If you're in other places that are dangerous and you die, you now get gravestones in instanced areas, which is nice. No more losing everything just because you died in the wrong place. Quite a few instance spots, so that's a good fix. Not that we're gonna die. That's the whole point here. On June 18th, 2009, membership cards available in 7-Eleven in the US. On June 22nd, 2009, patch notes. Ivan sits on his throne in the Underground Pass instead of standing on it. There are sound effects in the kilowatt plane. Familiars won't interrupt you doing certain actions. Item kept on death will now keep the same things on death instead of randomly swapping things that have the same value. Whatever you're going to keep, that's what you're going to keep. There's also right click to start your circus performances quickly, and a new song at the Wilderness Volcano called Eruption. But the main update for this day is new content at very high levels of agility. So high level that we can't even go and do it right now. Wildly high level content. And more of that to come, for sure. For now, we're just going to pop on over to the Tree Gnome Stronghold and see what we got. Originally, the level 1 agility course here at the Tree Gnome Stronghold now has an extra upper section at level 85. There's also a new upper section of the Barbarian agility course at level 90. So, some very high level agility courses. And beyond just being much better agility XP, you also get rewards. Complete 250 perfect laps without messing up any of the obstacles. You can get the new Agile set. Legs from here and the top from Barbarian that give a massive amount of weight reduction. So that's very handy. Combine that with the run energy changes, you can really get around quite far. One other agility change was the Dorgish Concourse, which used to be level 70, is now level 80. But also with less chance of failing the obstacles, which is nice. So we could go do that to level 85, then here from 85 to 90, and then Barbarian from 90 plus, if we wanted to. It's an option. It's an option. On June 23rd, 2009, new Dwarf Quest blog about feedback and blue boxes, which are placeholder graphics. Playing through things with placeholder graphics can be a little bit suspension of disbelief, but at least the playable content parts can be reviewed and updated as needed. Looking at clarity, flow of the quest, difficulty of the puzzles, plot twists, rewards, all kinds of things to give feedback on. Also, the quest has had the required levels increased, so that's also noted in the blog here. We are well ahead of quest requirements that we need, so We're doing fine there. I got all these plans. It's all planned out. On June 26th, 2009, Mobilizing Armies blog. Talking about how size and complexity of content can be difficult to manage. There's completely new types of things they could make with trade-offs of how complicated and new things are. The amount of time it takes to make new stuff, high risk of the content not being as interesting, but also being able to have new systems that could be reused for other things. Many different new things with this update for mobilizing armies to make it actually work. Got different camera views, different controls, select and control multiple units at the same time. You got stack icons, timer bars, dynamic cursors, using a new graphics scale because everything's so zoomed out to make things slightly differently. In a total, it has been a long time they've been talking about mobilizing armies. But it's coming. Oh, it is coming. Don't you worry. On July 2nd, 2009, Wally cards for membership are available in Sweden from the 7-Eleven and Pressbyran. More membership options all around. On July 3rd, 2009, Ferry Area Improvement blog for animation. You got new models, they need new animations. Got fast beating wings, unique animations for the Fairy Queen and the Godfather and the Henchman, and simulating motion blur with transparency to make it look like the wings are going even faster than they are. Lots of animations. Lots of good stuff. On July 8th, 2009, patch notes. There is now more information on the bar crawl card, telling you where the bars actually are. The Sphinx has gotten a graphical rework, as it was one of the oldest models in the game at this point. Resting with the Castle Wars flags will not make the flags invisible, so people actually can see where the flag is at to try to keep capturing the flag. There's now a contact random NPC in the NPC contact spell. A whole bunch of interesting interactions. The F keys have been reassigned. Hotkeys for inventory and combat and stuff. Matters a lot more before the interface changes. And just a whole bunch of sound effects all over the place. In other news, there's now a notes system. Where is that at? Here's notes. There's notes. Can I open it? We took it off. Whatever. Notes, put it back on. Should be on the... somewhere in here. Anyways, there's a notes bar. Here it is. That's very nice. We can now put notes in here. 30 notes. Add a note. Take a note. A note says note. And there's note. So you can have a list of notes here. Change the color. Do whatever. Just in-game, convenient little spot for stuff. With the notes system, they are changing things with the friends and ignore lists to only allow valid names. Because a lot of people would use the, specifically ignore list to make notes before. Just add random people's names to remember things. Kinda. But now there's notes, so you don't need to do that anymore. So that's nice. The summoning interface options have been moved to the summoning circle that's near the mini-map currently. So you do all that from opening it from there instead of having it on the inventory panel thing. Again, all changes with the interface. There's now an alternative sitting position that you can toggle. Xanax crossbow can fire more types of bolts. The quest filter will keep quests that you've started visible instead of getting rid of all the ones you've started already. Summoning Scroll, special recharging time won't interfere with your special attack recharging time. You can't use fairy rings while telelocked. And familiars can now cross into the Zamorak section of God War's dungeon, when previously they would not take that swim. You have to dismiss them, summon them on the other side. And if you're using a Beast of Burden, you need to ferry the things between. It was really awkward. So, well, that's over. And that's good. And now, the main update of today. Go take a regular teleport, a Ring of Dueling, or a Spirit Tree, and make your way over to, finally, in the game, mobilizing armies. We've got a new fort building right here, where there's a bunch of different buildings and a big tower where you can play mobilizing armies. It's all the way down here, southwest Feldip Hills. Wildly in the corner here. Basically, it's a 4-player PvP minigame with 4 different scenarios. You got Conflict, Siege, Horde, and Rescue. You need to bring a bunch of items to trade in for investment credits, which you then use to purchase your squads and special units like cannons and barricades and chinchompas. Stake some of your investment credits on the match to be rewarded even larger amounts of reward points, and climb the rankings, so you can also climb the tower. Starting in the basement, working all the way to the top, and you need the rankings in order to get the better rewards. Rewards include stuff like the quest item kits, which can be turned into like a rope and a spade and all that at the same time. A resource locator, which has charges that will teleport you to relevant locations, like any random yew trees or any random rune rocks for higher level ones. We've got Spoils of War, which you open for random resources and gold and items. More cosmetic items, like if you went and got all the way to the top, you can get yourself the full Lord Marshal set, which is very fancy. Imagine all this with less fanciness and other colors for lower level sets of it. And you also get probably the most important reward, ring imbues. You get your gold ring, diamond ring, up to there, Dragonstone ring, Onyx ring, Dagonoth King's rings, Lunar ring, Ring of Kairos, and you get them enchanted and imbued to have better stats. In total, it takes a little bit to climb the ranks, get all the rewards. So much so that people very quickly get into a optimize the fun out of it. Only interested in the rewards. You go into certain games, certain modes, everybody all agreeing to just not play the game, essentially. Throw all of your units up against the walls, and then when the timer that allows you to actually get rewards has passed, you just blow up all of your guys to get out of the game faster. Stuff like this, and changes to the reward spaces, led to the complete removal of mobilizing armies in 2018. So it is no longer here. Originally on the removal, it was like still here slightly or something, but then later it was completely replaced with this whole big hole here. Well, that's not until later. That is not until later. We're just going to not worry about the lack of mobilizing armies. Not gonna worry about that. Instead, we have just a few more updates to get through. On July 10th, 2009, pay by SMS, now available in Singapore. New post on the website about the Jagex anti-hijack system. It's a concept for a physical security key that acts as a two-factor authentication solution. Got a poll on the website, seeing if people would be interested in purchasing the physical item here. Also another blog on infrastructure, back-end upgrades they're working on. Stuff like login servers, forums, and billing. They did the front-end server upgrades last year, but now they're working on the back-end. Needs lots of storage for all the player data and stuff. Trying to bake in some redundancy, multiple server locations, house in all the info, and more bandwidth just to keep things working nicely. On July 13th, 2009, membership cards available at Rite Aid and Walmart. On July 14th, 2009, website maintenance. The high score system is being migrated, part of the back-end business here. So your information might be slightly out of date until your next logout. That's when it updates the information on the high scores. On July 15th, 2009, patch notes. You always get at least one reward from mobilizing armies spoils. Fixed logic with the rescue scenario. A rope is now attached to the mast in Cabin Fever. The bar crawl card had the wrong directions to one of the pubs. On the website, we got lores and histories for mobilizing armies. 3 journal entries from the captain guy there about how things transpired to make mobilizing armies happen. Over in PvP and Bounty Hunter Worlds, there's even more changes. You're now always sculled, no protect item allowed, so you'll lose everything every time. You also need to be in a safe area before your next login to those worlds, so you don't pop up in a dangerous location, risking way more than you intended to. And your opponent needs to be risking the correct amounts in order for your rewarding to count for that stuff. Also, you can now walk out of the Edgeville Bank by clicking on the minimap to travel northeast. Apparently I thought there was a wall there or something. Some items have been removed from the Grand Exchange, which we don't really care about, but just less clutter of partially charged jewelry and all that. And then, over in Al-Kharid, we got a new store with some new stuff. There had been a blog post about this earlier, but now it is available to have. A new store, Farouk's Tools for Games. Variety of tools for player-run games, which doesn't cause any problems whatsoever, anytime. Trade here, see all the different stuff. Except for the ones that don't exist anymore. Like the dice bag for random number generations. Racing boots for some reason, and the starting horn for setting up races. We do still have the hide and seek rings, a timer, a ticker, seeds for making marker plants to point in directions, the voting hat, information book on what all this is, an orb of counting. Just general things for setting up games, and also games of chance. Later problems. On July 16th, 2009, Animations Update Pack 1 blog. Talking about animation tweening, so in between frames. New weapon graphics and attack animations. All kinds of agility animations and emotes changes. Working on a lot of stuff. On July 17th, 2009, Worlds are down. There's problems at one of the ISPs. Their routers were overloaded. And then later on, worlds are still down. The affected worlds have been taken down and aren't available until things are fixed. Which became a little bit of a problem, since this is also the day where bounty worlds with +1 item were released. So you always keep your most valuable item. People were complaining that very expensive special attack weapons, specifically, were no longer usable at all in PvP since you always lost them. So here you don't even need to worry about keeping protect item on. You just always get them. But the free-to-play bounty world +1 item was one of the worlds that was down due to all the world problems. So that'll get sorted. On July 21st, 2009, patch notes. Some random rocks are no longer purple. The high scores code has been changed to better handle mobilizing armies ranks. All types of lanterns work for the Falador achievement diary tasks. A fishing spot is no longer partially on land. Multiple people can go through pipes on agility courses at the same time. And more mobilizing armies games can start at the same time. Lots of people trying to get those rewards. But more importantly, and finally for us, the next quest. It is the Curse of Arav. Hello? Quest? New quest journal. Well. Hello? For October. Quest overview. We are disconnecting! Alright. Well, that wasn't ominous or poorly timed at all. We're back later, when dealt with the Jade Vine. Now we can actually look at this quest. The Curse of Arav. And all that. Talk to Allie the Wise in Narda. A whole bunch of requirements here. Tell the Muspa, missing my mummy, with full restoration. Defender Varrock, Temple of Ikov, access trolling between Dad. The actual requirements here have been slightly changed. Originally required Shades of Morton and full completion of Troll Romance, which was more than just having access to Trollheim. And Temple of Ikov was added in for changed for a different thing. Also need a pickaxe, sacred oil, rope. In general, we've done everything up to this, so doesn't really make a difference. Skilling levels. We need 61 agility, 66 thieving, 64 strength, 64 range, 64 mining, 41 summoning, and 37 slayer. So those are definitely a list of requirements that we have. Item requirements. We need a crossbow, mithril grapple. We keep on keeping this. Keeps on working out great for us. I'm just gonna go get the bone crossbow for that. I'll be fine. Get some climbing boots, 3 dwellberries, a ring of life. So we're gonna get another ring of life. Not use our own for that. Gonna get him a claw pouch, insulated boots. We're gonna bring a rope, and then we need the sacred oil from Shades of Morton, which is now given in the quest for free. But we need it, so we're gonna get it. Combat. Not too much of a problem. Bring some food and stuff, though. So, we get to go all over the place. Making a ring, buying some things, going into the dark, making him a claw, making a ring of life, getting some oil from Shades of Morton, so we need to deal with all that. Gonna need some more teleport runes, so here we are with Ellie Morrisane. We will get all that together. Head to the quest start. Well, that took a while to get everything together. But we are here to start the quest with Ellie the Wise. Ah, Hardcore Ultimate Ironman Artic, there you are. I've been doing some research since last we spoke, and one of my contacts has found something very interesting. Would you like to go on a mission that could aid me in my work researching these mysterious Majrat creatures. Accept the quest. Yes, that sounds interesting. Excellent. Now, one of my other contacts has been doing some exploring. He found an entrance to some tunnels. They seem to head directly under that plateau, where Jahalin said the ritual will happen. Are you sure these tunnels are related to the ritual? Not entirely, but it seems quite likely. It doesn't look like these are naturally occurring caves. Someone's deliberately tunneled under that plateau. Did your contact explore the tunnels much? No. There appears to have been a number of cave-ins. He didn't have the mining expertise to get through. Where's the tunnel entrance? It's at the top of an area called Trollweiss Mountain. You'll have to pass through some ice troll tunnels northwest of Trollheim. Ah yes, I'm familiar with it. I've been tobogganing there. Really? It hadn't struck me as a tourist area. A bit too troll-ridden. You won't need a toboggan this time anyway. The cave is right at the top. Fantastic. Time for me to go to Trollweiss then. Good luck, adventurer. I look forward to hearing what you find. Okay. Trollheim. With the power of the Staff of Fire, we can go right up there. Lovely stuff. Also, the Staff of Fire is for later. We will worry about that later. For now, we just need to go to Trollheim. Through the ice troll area up towards the Trollweiss mountain business. Been a little bit since we've been up this way. Not too many good reasons to head to Trollweiss. Well, like Allie said, it's not exactly a popular tourist destination. But we make our way around places. So yeah, definitely better to have stuff like Edgar's Ruse done here for the teleport. Saves needing to bring the climbing boots to climb up into the mountains here. So that's nice. Out into the snow. Further up north we go. Through a cave to get to another cave. It's a system out here. Ice trolls. Did 1 damage. Wild stuff. We got a little bit of food for food-related activities. We do need to fight a little bit later in the quest, so that'll be fine. Also, a bit of running through the desert. Didn't have a water skin or anything, but that's okay. We will manage. We will manage. Could pick up the sapphire if we wanted to. Don't really want to. Into a cave. Also, here's this. This is here now. Heading up that way. We can also use the rest feature here for a second. So we can run faster. Recharging rates. All very good. Okay. So here is all the rubble that the contact couldn't get through. Not possible to clear this rubble. Combine chunks of rubble. Prospect it. It's got little requirements and things. And this is the start of a bit of a puzzle down here in the mines. The big solid chunks we can't clear. The other ones we can clear, but only one bit at a time from each direction. We mine through that. And we can mine through that. And we can get all the way into here. Also, things to pick up. Like a stone tablet. The Journal of Lamistard. Lamistard. It is imperative I get as close to the ritual stone as I can this time. For too many rituals now, the same few have gained much power, while the rest of us have stayed on the outskirts and remained weaker. If only I could get closer, maybe I'd become a force in the next battle. Confirming the whole idea of getting towards the ritual stone here. Some of the rubble takes 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits even. That's quite a lot of work mining through here. We have a very good mining level. We can definitely accomplish quite fantastic feats of mining. And we're going to be mining more here pretty soon, too, so there we go. We can also get cave-ins. Also messing stuff up. Here. And here. I guess we're also getting a little bit of mining XP. Not that we're really worried about that in particular, but, I mean, we're here. Here's a granite tablet. I have a cunning plan. I started to dig some tunnels that will eventually lead me directly under the stone. This time I'll be as close as possible. I found the ideal site to start digging, an isolated mountainside, reachable only via the troll tunnel. No one will disturb me here. He's got a good plan. Even closer than John's cave that he's in right now. Well, it's definitely a process here. Definitely working. Another tablet here and a area here. I'm making progress with the tunnels, though I hadn't appreciated what hard work it would be. As I'm going to be down here a little while, might as well make myself comfortable. I've created some living quarters of sorts. Wish I had some of that papyrus they've invented. Chiseling is so laborious. That gives us some idea of how long it's been. Came down here while they were inventing papyrus. So, it's definitely been a while. These rituals are also not very common, so. Time scales go back quite a significant amount of time here. Mining. Mining. The part that fell down in the cave-in is not mineable in itself. There's this part. Mine this. And this. And this. Definitely takes a little bit of mining experience to get through all of this. It's quite the thing. It's quite the thing. Okay. Now we can get even further into the caves here. Where we've got last pile of rubble here. You attack it from many directions, as much as we can. We got many different paths in here. It's a bit of a puzzle. As long as you just keep on mining things, you can make more progress. Also have another stone tablet here. Yoink. I've been struggling to get precisely under the stone. Wasted time digging tunnels the wrong way. Seem to have hit some sort of brick structure. Possibly a cellar belonging to one of the others. Maybe if I break through it, I can get my bearings. It'll be dangerous though. I don't want to be detected. Here's the cellar. It's broken into. There's some more rubble. There's some more rubble. There we go. Next tunnel. To get to the next side of the next tunnel, we need to go from 2 other tunnels to get to the tunnel. There's a process here, for sure. Mine some of this. Mine some of this. Run this way. Not the most direct of systems here. We keep mining through, making progress, having a good time. Lots of mining. That's alright. This. Mine this chunk, which makes a cave-in. But we can get around the cave-in, so it all works. Not really any way to mess this whole thing up, which is good. Like this, get a cave-in. Go to here. And here. And here. And here. Then up to this side of these ones. Breaking it in. Smash. Smash. And we're in. Okay. Searching. Bunch of stuff down here. Nothing wanted in this bookcase. Nothing in this bookcase. There's some interesting looking notes, but we don't have inventory space to carry them. We'll make ourselves have inventory space to carry them. Interesting looking notes. A through J. Zamorgle's Notes. Part 1. Notes on my fellow Majrant. Acthanicos. This is an individual who has not been seen since before the God Wars, but his presence is still felt on Gillinor. He's thought to be loyal to Zeros. Acthanicos has re-emerged. Apparently, he and Ankara were engaged in a continual struggle for thousands of years. He still lives those outdated Zerosian ideals. I just don't get it. I know Zeros freed us from the desert god, but he'll never understand the path of chaos. If Acthanicos can be caught, he could be a good choice for a sacrifice soon. Asnadra. Powerful adversary and Zeros' champion, has been contained since the early God Wars. We have not dared free him for the ritual yet. We should do so soon, while numbers of the Zamarakian faction are still high enough to handle him. Bilratch. Bilratch is of average power for our kind. He seems willing to go along with what I suggest, so he'll be useful for now. Anakra. Another who has not been seen since before the God Wars, but whose presence is still felt. She would seem to be the only surviving female Majrant left on this plane. If we could find her, she could be the key to our continued survival here. Well, Anakra's re-emerged at last. She reported to us that she had been in continual struggle with Acthanicos all this time. She has spurred my offer to sire more of our race. She came out with some nonsense about her feelings being for Zamorak. What have feelings got to do with anything? This is our continued survival here. Pah, women. Oh, Zamorgle. Haziel. One of the Zamorak-aligned faction, worthy warrior. Generally, I consider Haziel an ally. Haziel seems to be gaining in power. He's gained many followers and much territory. Disaster has struck for Haziel. Certain worshipping human filth have conquered his territory and put him into a state of torpor. The question is, will his followers be able to revive him before the next ritual? Well, his followers may have left things rather last minute, but they've managed it. Haziel is back in play. Shalin. One of the weakest of our race. He did not even dare attend the last ritual, so he'll be even weaker now. I'm ashamed to even call him a Majrant. Okay. Nothing here. Crates we can't look in. Let's keep searching everything. Generally a good plan when you get in here. New places, new things. Climbing up into here. We are in a fort. And here is Rav. Hi, Rav. Rav, it's me, Hardcore Ultimate Ironman, Artic. Are you able to talk at the moment, or does Zamorgle have too great a hold on you? Ah, I really don't wish to attack you, but my master compels me to. He's bonking us. Let's use some protect from melee, why not? We are stronger. I am terribly sorry, but it is not I who controls my actions. The fight continues. Ish. Zamorgle's not doing a great job. Rav, I want to help you. Please try to fight against Zamorgle's control. If you go to the rune to the south and look behind the flame tapestry, I want to help you. You need to fight his control. Look behind the flame tapestry. You might be able to find something that can help us both. My master calls. At least I can seize this battle. Good luck, Hardcore Ultimate Ironman Artic. Okay. So we told us some stuff there. Look behind the flame tapestry to the south. Search it. Find 2 items on the tapestry. You don't have space to carry them. Heal up a bit. Searching. You find a key and some plans attached to the back of the tapestry. Study base plans. These appear to be complex plans for Zamorgle's base in the southern wilderness. Maybe Ally the Wise can help you interpret them. You also have a base key for Zamorgle's base in the southern wilderness. Also, way later, there's some safes. Very cool. In terms of other areas of the base that we can look at, this door here is locked currently. And this door is also locked. So we need to get back to Ally the Wise. Kind of get a look at the rest of the base here. Got a bunch of statues, a prison, staircase going up, weapon racks. Pretty cool base out here. Zamorgle's got. So we're gonna go back to Alley the Wise now. Going to just use the house teleport, and then to Edgeville, and then the staff to go through the fairy rings to north of Narda, and then we'll be in Narda. Easy enough. Here we are. A cuckoo. Alley. Have you found the tunnel yet? Yes, I've found some plans in them too. Think they're plans of Zamorgle's base in the south of the wilderness? I've been there before, but there's more of that area I've not been able to get into. I also found a key, which I think might help me get into the deeper chambers. That does sound interesting. Shall we have a look at those plans, then? I always say it's best to be prepared before plunging blind into the depths of an evil villain's hideout. You show Ellie the plans. There seems to be something on here marked as the Heart of Arav. Really? That sounds interesting. Arav did say that these plans could help both of us. Maybe if I can find his heart, I can help poor Arav. That sounds like a very noble quest. I think there may be a few significant problems in reaching the heart, though. Significant problems! Okay. Looking at the plans, it seems that Zamorgle's inner base has state-of-the-art secret hideout security. The corridor into the area is filled to the brim with human detection spells. These will set off the alarm. In the kitchen, there's an entrance into a sewage system that runs under some parts of the base. Unfortunately, surges of energy are periodically sent through the water there. Electrified sewer. Wild. The inner corridor is patrolled by zombies. As they're zombies, they don't have the need for a shift change, but their patrolling patterns mean that they can be 5-minute periods where they're not covering certain areas. If they see an intruder, they will set off the alarm. If the alarm is sounded, a gas will fill the area, incapacitating all living things in the area. The vault door is made of a 5-inch thick runite-enforced steel with a 4-digit access code. When the code is entered incorrectly more than twice, the alarm will be set off. Inside the vault, there's a crisscross of special fire ray enchantments that Zamorgle has made. Touching any of these will do significant damage and set off the alarm. At the back of the vault is Arav's heart, in the middle of a continuous Majorat spell. Simply removing the heart will kill Arav. Well, that sounds like an awful lot to get past. Sounds like an impossible mission. But it does sound like a bit of a challenge, but if we engage in a bit of cunning, it may not be as impossible as you might think. Now let me think. The trickiest bit seems to me to be moving Arav's heart while keeping it alive, unless you want to just put him out of his misery. If there is a way to save him while not killing him, that'd be nice. Plus, I'm sure he has a lot of useful information. I've had experience elsewhere of preserved organs of various sorts too, which should come in handy. Goodness, you adventurer types do get up to some strange stuff. So, do you have an idea on how to move the heart? Not as such, but I know someone who might be able to help. I'm off to talk to a mummy. Oh, does your mother dabble in that kind of thing? I see now. Yes, that's precisely what I didn't mean. No, I'm talking about an ancient pharaoh queen called Senletin. Oh, right, that sounds like a good idea too. To the mastaba. Let's just run over this way. Running through the desert, with no desert protection to speak of. It's honestly fine. It's not like we're going too far by any means. Get back in here. See if it's going to just pop us through the shortcut. I'm going to try to use the quote-unquote shortcut through the pyramid here. Whether it's even technically shorter. Gets us from one step to the other without going around some parts of it. We're in here. Lets us through the barrier because we are cool with doing all that. So yeah. Continuation of other quests here. related to other things we've done. Definitely a whole quest series kind of situation here. Some scarabs. Go through the holes. It does pop us up on the other side of the maze here. I definitely think that the first time that we went through the maze by just skipping to the end, that was definitely not how that originally worked. We'll just walk across here. Some fashion. So that direction's not going to work. Did I go blue-green the other time? Did I go blue-green? Blue. Blue. Wobbling around. Blue to green. It's gonna go straight this direction. At least for a while. What if this is the same path we did before? Yeah, we get there. Red-yellow path would be split off, so something like that. You can also technically just force your way across a little bit. But it does change which things are up, so it's not quite as effective. Alright. We've made it. Back in here again. Senliton, how's it going? Greetings, traveler. I don't suppose you could help me. During my travels, I've run into a tricky conundrum I hoped you might be able to help with. State your questions, and I will try to help where possible. I have found a place where a great hero's heart is being kept alive outside his body by magical means. I need to bring the heart back to the hero, but I'm worried about killing him in the process. What you say is indeed strange. Let me think upon how this can have come about. While one can bind parts of a body while preventing the rest from dying, this renders the person an immortal servant. If the heart continues beating, this prevents the remaining person from having the spirit that would otherwise compel them to fight against it. That sounds precisely like the situation I've discovered. The hero has been the slave of an evil necromancer for centuries. I have heard theories of this practice, but it is very dark magic. The heart should stay in the body. It's not removed during the usual process of mummification. I did not conceive that anyone would actually do something like this to another. You live in dark times, traveler. Do you have any idea how I can set things right? I wish to give you something that will help, but you have no inventory space. Punch. Thanks, traveler. You can help me. Question impossible. We did it. We did it. Centuries. Different dark times. Ideas. This is a canopic jar of sacred oil, used to carry organs. When you will store the heart in this, we must supply the preservatives that will keep the heart alive. You will need to first add 3 dwellberries, and secondly a ring of life. And he hands you a canopic jar of sacred oil. What are the dwellberries for? My people have long considered dwellberries a fruit with a strong link to the heart. We feed them to people with more conventional heart problems too. Thank you very much. I just hope this works. Alright. So this is where you get an empty canopic jar and then fill it with sacred oil. And then we add the dwellberries and the ring of life. And there you go. A full canopic jar. Beautiful stuff. I think we will just go ahead and do one more pass. Go talk to Allie before we run on off to some Royal's base. Probably a reasonable plan here. Honestly, instead of going back across this, it might just be faster to teleport out. Go through that instead. So we'll do that. A 2013 update would make it way more convenient to get back here to Narda, but we're nowhere near there. Allie, I've returned. Have you spoken to your mummy yet? I've spoken to a mummy, and she taught me how to make a special liquid to preserve the heart. Intriguing. So there's a liquid that can do such things. Well, that's one step dealt with. Great. Now what about everything else? Well, I've had a little think about things, and I think you're going to have to be inventive and resourceful, to an extent. Inventive. I thought people planned meticulously when raiding high security areas. If you bring the correct equipment, you should be able to increase your odds of getting through. First of all, you'll need some kind of insulation to protect yourself from the electric shocks in the sewer. Then you'll need to consider surveillance. Surveillance? See one of the temple knights? What? No, I said surveillance. Some way of remotely viewing what is happening in secure areas. Oh, and no great heist is complete without the use of a rope and grappling hook. So to summarize, I need some sort of insulated protection, some way of remote viewing, and a rope and grappling hook. I need a crossbow to fire the grappling hook to. Then I need to head to Zamorogle's base under the Chaos Temple in the southeast of the wilderness. Yes, I seem to remember that one of the guards in Varrock knows the way to the Chaos Temple. You should speak to him. That is slightly changed. Originally, we'd just go to the Chaos Temple. But that's changed back when PvP comes back. Makes the wilderness a bit more dangerous. Although it already is fairly dangerous, with revenants roaming about. So it's not exactly safe by any means. At any rate, if we tried to go to the actual entrance, we would not even be able to, so we have to just head up back here and talk to Heartwing. Have him bring us over there. Instanced versions of the wilderness. Always a time. Up. Heartwing. Hi, do you think you could take me back to Zamorogle's base? Yes, I can take you there. I'm very busy, so don't expect me to hang around. You ready to go? Yes, I am. Back to Zamorogle's base. / wilderness. / whatever. Armored zombies. Well, the wrong missions, Harmon's left. Speech from home, we need Heartwing again. I don't need him again. So we're gonna need to do the whole bottles of mist business here. Grab some of these. Kill some armored zombies. A little bit of fighting in here. That's alright. Use bottle with red mist. Use bottle with red mist. And one more. Should be about right. Really not going to worry about any of the drops here. Not really are concerned. Red mist. Open doors. Get further into the base here. Not quite enough damage that we need to worry about eating just yet. More zombies bonk us. We might. Through here. More zombies. Over the balcony here at all these zombies. Doesn't seem to be a lot going on down there right now. Just a pile of zombies. Good stuff. Alright. Open the metal door with the key. Use our key to open the door. Lovely. And that leads us to this section. The human detection spell. Looks like it detects humans. I'd rather not. I'd rather it not. Okay. Summon the macaw on the pipe somehow. Examine the pipe. Look hygienic in a kitchen. Get our macaw out here. Interact with the macaw. Remote view. I am sure using my macaw will come in useful soon. Not got a good idea to risk sending it off yet. Into the pipe with the macaw. Seems the pipes are smelly. I mean, that's the next part. Boots protect you from the electricity. We got our macaw here. Got the electricity in the sewers. What a mess of a place. You can also see where the electricity is coming from. It's a killer watt. In a cage. Well, that's what's producing all the electricity down here. Killer watt. You find a label that reads, Huttenstein Labs Security Systems. This explains how Zamorogle has made electricity run through his sewers. Very interesting. And then we will see with this pipe. Interact with the macaw. View through this pipe. Enter the pipe. Somebody will see him remotely. Which one's that? There's smoke. Oh, set off the alarm. Yeah, use the macaw. Can we... Is in pipe? Enter the pipe. Interact with the macaw. Gent. Should we timbers? Where have we picked up all these phrases? Interact with the macaw. Remote view. Command lumber. Be sending me first, cause it'd be real dangerous up there, up that there pipe. I wouldn't worry. Nobody's gonna notice a little macaw flying around a dungeon. Remote view. Not very often this mechanic is used. You wait until the patrolling zombies have moved away from the other end of the pipe. There they go. They only have human detection spells, not macaw detection spells. And then climb through the pipe. Okay. This is over here. The entrance, here's the door. We'll go back that way for the detection spell. We can go down this way though. Searching tables for things. Found some strange pieces of paper with holes in them. Don't find anything on this table. Found some interesting looking notes. K through Z. More notes on Majrats. Khazard. Khazard is the youngest of our race on Gillinor. He was born towards the end of the God Wars, shortly before the death of his mother, Palkira. Under Haziel's tutelage, he is becoming a force to be reckoned with. This young Majra is proving adept at manipulating weak-minded humans. As such, he has built up a sizable territory and following. Karshai. Majra of merely average power, generally has kept himself out of trouble by going along with the majority. With no specific close allies, he could be in danger at some point. Strangely, Karshai has disappeared. I did not think him so weak that he would be one of the Majra who chose to miss the last ritual. Maybe I overestimated him. Now we have one that's crossed out. Lamistard. A fairly weak Majrat. I don't like him much. Though, like most of us these days, he is at least a Zamorak aligned. Could be the next one we choose to lose the next fight. Well, he failed to turn up this time. Guess he knew he was in trouble. Aha, what do you know? The sniveling weasel tunneled into my basement. He's my prisoner now. Well, it's an easy decision to make him the next sacrifice. And my fellow Majrat seem happy to go along with me on this one. Lamistard terminated in Gillinor's 16th ritual. Lucian. Lucian's a powerful mage and my cousin. Trust him at least as much as any of the others, which still isn't very much. Lucian seems to have been getting very powerful of late, which is now getting exceedingly powerful. I'd love to know how. Guess I should try to be nice to him for a bit. Mizarch, rather weak, has no particular allies. Seems an easy target for the sacrifice. Mizarch terminated in Gillinor's 15th ritual. Ralliash, an individual of average power. He's an ugly fellow. I think his eye sockets are too close together. Ralliash terminated in Gillinor's 17th ritual. Sliske, one of the more powerful of our number. Sliske has particularly strong shape-shifting capabilities and powers over shadows. I'd love to catch this guy, but he's a slippery fellow. Wahisitil. Majra of average power, keeps himself to himself, mostly. Rumors are that he may have Zeroshian sympathies. That'd be a fun rumor to further spread. The more the others have reason to trust each other, the better. And Zamorgal. This is me. I am amazing. Oh, Zamorgal. My goodness. Okay. So we got some decoder strips. We've got a door here. Let's code things with the door. Doors are firmly locked. See a sort of keypad to the left of the doors. Operate the keypad. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-digit code. 4 things. Do we get the letters that say how it's supposed to go here? We got the notes. We got a base key. Say the plans. I think like this chest. There we go. The chest. Got a card with 4 letters on it. CFGG. What can that mean? That means exactly what it needs to mean. CFGG. Combine the strips and the code. Just go across. C. This one goes to F. And then G. Takes a little bit to switch to the next strip here. Make room to put the fourth one also on G. Not the best passcode here. 6262. When it works, it works. With the middle door. Now we just need to grapple the pipe to shimmy our way across here. Right above the fire spells. Wild stuff. Now, let's cut up a jar with a pestle. You very, very carefully put the heart in the jar. Now to take this back to Alley the Wise, so we can think of a way to help Arav. Okay. You just get out of here. Magical. Back we go. All sorts of stuff to make that work for us here. What we got there? Definitely got there. Let's restore everything here. While we make our way back to Alley the Wise. And we got a lot of interesting stuff here too. This is not really where we need to be. Taverley. No convenient fairy rings there. Let's go back to Edgeville. Make our way there. Also, we don't need the macaw anymore, so they can go away. Dismiss macaw. Goodbye. Could also use a ravenous locust, because they also have the remote view. It's easier to make a macaw. Or lower level, or what have you. At any rate, lots of different problems to get to this heart. But now we have it. That's definitely something. To the desert again. The next question is, what do we do with the heart now that we have it? And does Zamorgul know about that? I'm sure we'll find out. Whether or not control is still there, we at least have a part of the problem dealt with here. So that's good. Part of his curse being lifted. I'm back. So how goes the grand heart robbery coming along? I've done it, Allie. I've got the heart. I'm not sure what to do with it, mind you. That is excellent news. Let's have a look at it. You hand the heart over to Ellie. Wow, this is really interesting. It's still beating perfectly. Well, you've done lots of the hard work so far. I suppose it's my turn to do lots of research and figure out how to get this back inside of Rav so that he can finally escape Zamorgul. That's very good of you. It's the least I can do. Rav is a great hero after all. Anyway, we're making a great team. You've done really well. I feel we're making great progress bringing those nasty Majrat down a peg or two. Quest completed. We get 1 quest point. 14,000 thieving XP, 9,000 range XP, 9,000 strength XP, 9,000 agility XP, 30,000 mining XP, 2,500 slayer XP, 4,000 summoning XP. Lots of different XP in all the skills there. That's enough to get us no levels whatsoever. Sad times. But we can talk to Allie about the Majrat. I have more interesting information about the Majrat. Good, good. I'm always happy to compile more information on these creatures. They are of great interest to me. I found some interesting stone tablets in those tunnels, written by a Majrat named Lamistard. Let's see them then. Now these look interesting. Let's see. Yes, this is interesting. Seems that Jalan wasn't the only one trying to get near the ritual area by other methods. It does really seem attending the ritual is critical to their power. Looks like this guy might have come to a sticky end. More information. Good, good. Found these notes about many different Majrat made by Zamorgul. And he starts to read the notes. These really do look interesting. There's so much information here. There are more Majra in the world than most people think. All sorts of Majra I've never heard of mentioned. Bilraj, Karshai, look. There are even details of Majra who have recently perished. Remarkable. Looks as there's a clear split between those who follow Zamorak and those who follow Zeros. Do I have more information? Nothing else particularly interesting comes to mind. Okay. So now we don't need all these notes and stuff. Whole piles of things we don't need here. My goodness. We don't need all these stone tablets. All his work. Then he got killed. And then we got his stone tablets. And then we're destroying them. Can technically go back into the tunnels and pick them up if we really wanted to. Really don't, though. Really unnecessary. That's okay. And now, with all of that done, and the Majrat storyline continuing, we'll deal with that later. But the next thing we're doing is dealing with all these 10,000 nature runes. Next time. Goodbye.